Now,
Stop it.
it automatically starts
I swear
recording,
to
so
God.
I just pause it and
Okay. Here we are. Gotta remember this records and, everybody can hear it. So I'll call to order the, Bridge and Infrastructure Committee meeting for December 5th. 2020. Dave's taking notes. Public comments. Approval of the minutes from last one.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
Aye.
We are all for.
Lee's not. Lee's not. At
the next meeting, or the 11th, and I now am in an non-voting member because I'm the first selected.
Okay.
So I'm here.
So
I think
Chris, me and Steve and.
I think we have,
Who else is on the committee?
Steve
Dusty,
Who else is on that?
and Greg was.
Greg,
No longer now. I asked him if he was going to continue.
and well, anyways, okay, so that goes right into, recommended new. I'd like to have Lee. Any. Judy, you said, Sergey,
Sergey,
Sergey Fedorov.
he's an engineer too.
is he, do you know what kind of engineer he is? Is he a civil engineer? Maybe that'd be, might not be a bad guy, and he's willing to,
So he did tell me that any help that we needed, he'd be willing to. He's also written steep grants.
Yes, he has.
then, do you want, yeah, do you want to contact him, and let's put his name down, and,
Mhm.
if you can get it. And then let's vote on him too on
Okay.
Monday.
How many seats?
Um. What do you think? I mean, so that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that would be 6.
7.
Oh, 7 with Dusty.
Mhm.
Can we make it, I mean. Does it matter?
You can have 7. That's not a problem.
So, infrastructure. You know, I kind of like the idea of keeping a small. Infrastructure that spreads us pretty thin,
Yeah, that's
I
what I
think.
was thinking too.
so. For the better. So let's go with that. And I also. I asked, Charlie Stats if he would be interested in helping out. I don't think he really wants to be a member, but, he certainly has a lot of, experience with bridges and, you know, probably help out a lot and that type of thing, so. I think we can keep him just as a,
Advisor.
yeah, and as an advisor.
Can we add committee members as needed, or are we limited?
I think just speaking from, as an ex officio member, I can say that now. We can, I was just adding people, and I think, you would all agree that have expertise in certain areas.
Mhm.
So if you could add someone who is, basically, we have guys who here are great in construction, excavation, that type of thing, roadways. Charlie will cover bridges, which is one of the things we need. But the big thing you need also to look at is our buildings.
Yeah.
And I mean, all of us own
Yeah,
a home and we know,
Yeah.
you know, some of us have some background in commercial buildings and so on and so forth. But I think if we could find someone who, you know, is with the building trade, if you will, that would be a real,
I know.
Jake Peterson.
I was just gonna say.
someone like him would be a really good addition if Jake would
I'm
be
working
willing
with
to.
him on a project now. The guy is fantastic and he's a.
Pretty sharp.
He is
Mhm.
Yeah.
a great builder.
So he would be a fantastic addition if you could, if you would reach out to him. Because you just want to try to cover
Yeah,
everything, because as we've looked at this, you're not just talking about, we initially started about thinking roads and bridges, but we've included all buildings in town. And once you get the buildings in town, well, having someone in the building trades really going to be an asset to the committee as a whole.
okay, so then, let's not keep it in. Let's include him then, yeah,
Alright.
yeah, I agree with that.
So Steve will talk to him.
Yep.
Do we have to make a motion on that or just,
Well, let me see if I can get him on board.
You really don't need to make a motion on that. We'll make those motions to bring them aboard once they commit
okay,
to coming aboard.
At the next meeting.
Now, Lee has already made a commitment, you know, this standing committee now can vote on Lee.
okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I move that we include Lee on as recommend Lee to the Board of Selectmen as a member of the committee.
Right, for appointment to the committee.
A second time.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thanks, Lee, for serving.
we'll talk. One of the things that I wanted to the list of infrastructure is pretty big, and I don't want to get overwhelmed. I know the last meeting, Greg mentioned that he would like to formulate a list of priorities really soon, really quickly. I'm not sure that that's possible. And given, I mean, we're pretty aware of what needs to happen with bridges. We've got the Cardinal report. But I mean, there's a lot of other stuff. Tim's probably got a really good idea of what the DPW garage needs, salt shed. And I'm sure that you probably have, if you probably in the back of your mind, there's probably 5 priorities, 5 things that you could set as priorities around town that, and then maybe 5 additional priorities if you had the resources to do them. And I know that's a tough one. I think,
Dusty's here. Like a salt shed and a transfer station. Pretty top priority.
I think you're right, yeah.
The bulky waste.
The bulky waste,
Right.
there's,
And maybe another office building over there at some point.
a new office building,
That one's gonna fall on the ground soon.
yeah.
We just had repairs done to that just to hold it together
Yeah.
over the
Oh,
summer.
you did?
We can.
Oh, to put a floor in it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
because I've been looking at them,
Yeah.
you know, they're not in place. To do that, can we do like with the list, can we like bundle them?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping, but without knowing exactly who's here and who we can count on for,
Well, I mean, like the sidewalks, I would like to do that, maybe bundle it like streetscape, so it would include lighting, the gardens and the town green.
Sure.
Stuff like that,
okay,
and then you could do, maybe 108 Main Street and 107 together.
yeah,
Things like that, and then,
Rec center and town pool.
yeah,
yeah. daycare and a Kellogg school. There were actually a couple other things that I thought of, that didn't make it on here.
Maybe Hill Schoolhouse is another town structure that we didn't list.
Yeah, I think what we should have is just include that with the non-municipal building.
It's not a non-municipal building, it's town owned.
Okay, true, that's right. I was just thinking about putting it down by the historical society though. But,
So that
No, I
would be
think
under
we're-
the top list.
yes,
Yeah,
you're correct on that.
we could probably include that with like the, how long from that.
Mhm.
The,
Hi, gang. Hey there.
hey,
Good spot for you.
Um. On this list of non-municipal buildings, right? Are we obligated to work on those too?
No. But we have to be aware of the fact that we do give them money
Okay,
every year. We're not obligated to work on them, no. But they're assets within the town, not town assets, but
Yeah, I think-
assets within the town,
I think, the list, we wanted to identify them
right?
as being assets.
okay,
No,
it's
that's-
like, I guess we're gonna sell 35 railroads.
Right, so that'll come off the list, but
Right,
That's-
right.
as of the preparation of this list and right to this moment, it's not completed, so. It's there.
So,
Another agenda and the list.
Where'd they all go?
You must have passed them all out. I wrote on mine, so I can't copy.
here, you can give me this one. I'll borrow these.
I'll share. Okay.
Just make a copy.
Yeah.
We can share it then.
Yeah.
The, I think under prioritize, the Board of Finance the other night put a couple of contingencies on approving or recommending to approve the solar field, and they actually have quite a few of them, but one of them was, they wanna know what the town needs and costs for, I guess under the infrastructure. And I'm not sure if we can give them really a very accurate, we can give them a rough idea of what we need, but you know, where some of our money's gonna go, or hopefully, should go. And also the cost to prep the site available for the project, and I don't know, that would depend on where the final outcome would be, where we're gonna put it, so.
I think the rec commission doesn't want it on.
Up on back there, right?
So they don't want it in the Walnut Grove, the Black Walnut Grove, for lack of a better
Yeah,
area.
So,
would like to see it out by the road where the chip pile is.
And we've already, Tim and I have already discussed what
Yeah,
it would be.
but that is town property.
Mhm.
The town farm rec center property, that is town property, right?
Right,
I mean, if that's the best place to put it, we can still put it there.
but we
No.
still can put it there, yes.
I mean, I can't believe that is a better place than on that side hill of that, where that old house used to be. As far as how much light it's gonna collect, and as far as it not being on property that isn't, it can't really use that for anything else, can you? That I could think of.
It's a shorter run to the line also, right?
I guess it
That's all.
depends if you go out to Route 126 or if you go out to Route 63, but. But there is already a power line run up to the pool. I don't know if that's. If they go into that to feed back, I don't know, but I don't understand.
different style of power.
There's a transformer up there to run the pool.
I think it originally was slated, Northeast Utilities looked at tying into the pole that's out in that corn lot, right? So.
Yes,
If we were to go up there where the old house was, then obviously to that pole would be the shortest distance. If we put it up in
Yeah,
a chip
yeah.
pile, then it would have to go out across the street, but I don't think running. I mean, yeah, that's gonna be a cost, conduit and cable and whatnot is gonna be a cost. I don't think it'll be a huge cost. I mean, it'll make a big
My,
difference.
my thought was just getting it where it's gonna get the most light and be able to work the best, and
Yeah.
But that was funny at the Board of Finance, I asked him that, remember that, Steve? And he said that it wasn't as big an issue as it used to be, how much light it gets.
Direct light,
Yeah,
Correctly.
right.
But not to get too far down in the weeds here, okay? I think what the, if I didn't misinterpret it, what the Board of Finance was talking about was committing money to that particular project as opposed to, how many other projects we have in town.
Mhm.
So they wanna look at this on balance. If, Steve, you were there, yeah, I look, so if I'm misspeaking, tell me. But I
No,
think
you're
on
right.
balance, if we spend, 300,000 over here, is it better spent on the bridges?
Right.
Or is it better spent on the transfer station, or is it better spent on roadways?
yeah, well,
So I think that's, and I think we're getting a little down into the weeds here, trying to figure out what we're gonna do with, the solar array, but,
that's not our infrastructure yet, is what you're
That's
saying.
right.
that's what I'm saying. We're worrying about, we're getting too far down a rabbit hole here that we don't need to go down. I think, I understand on balance what they wanna know is, hey, if you're gonna spend $300,000 over here, are we better splitting it into three $100,000 projects over here and getting more bang for our buck? So I think that's where we are with that. So just get us out of the weeds here for a moment.
That's somebody else's choice to make, I guess.
Well, I think it's not necessarily, I think our input, is what they're looking for.
well,
Especially
when we've got a whole list here of priorities now.
right,
I think Judy's idea of bundling certain things works very well, and if I might make the suggestion, once we get those bundled, then we look at who we assign to those particular projects.
yeah,
I think that would be the natural step to follow, but we know we have some priorities here. I think if you could take and find 3 priorities without blinking your eyes right now, I could pick 3 priorities without blinking my eyes. I mean, we just had one priority covered. We had, we're having the
Town hall paint.
town hall painted, and obviously that came with a cost, and it came with what'll be some additional costs because of some repairs around windows and things like that they had to do. I mean, that was just normal. We didn't know it was there when they initially did it, so,
Sure.
I think, yeah. I think you're right when you said the bulky waste pile.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna have to make, along with that, we're gonna have to make some kind of arrangement for a dumpster, right? Access to a dumpster, because now that material is gonna be hauled out.
Right, well, you gotta understand that the transfer station's all under the DEP, the state is, it's all licensed and permitted, and there's a map, and we're not supposed to have anything over there that's not on that map. For instance, I'm not sure that the compost, or not the composting, the food compost is on that map. Actually, that's
no, probably isn't.
that map has, I think at that particular spot, that's for propane bottles, but.
We don't collect propane bottles anymore, so.
But anyway, I don't know what the time frame for the closure of that bulky waste site is. Basically, they gave us staked out an area, and said when it's up this high, then you're done, I don't know if there's any reason you can't fill between the 2 humps that are over there. As far as the DEP is concerned, or if the town even would want to, but.
How often do you need to get a permit or a license or resubmit?
I think it's like every 5 years they renew it.
Oh, yeah.
It might be, and I don't really know, because I think Pat was the last one to have to renew it.
I have to check. I know there's a file. I'll check that tomorrow.
Has it
Yeah.
been surveyed where we're at versus the permit elevations and square footage?
As far as the height of it, I don't know.
I think that should be a baseline you create right now.
That'd be a bad idea.
So that's like
Yeah.
one of our number one priorities is to.
You gotta know where you're at.
When
and-
I know when I started working there, there's a berm around the area that Fred had us put in with out of the bank there, it's mostly dead sand, and we put a berm around there, and he says, when you're out to that berm, it's as far as you go.
And,
Fred had that big finger, and when he put it down, by God, that's what you did.
yeah,
Well, I guess the idea behind this is, it'd be in our favor to, be proactive rather than reactive.
Mhm.
And, so if we have a plan going into it, we're gonna be that much further ahead when they say enough's enough.
Right.
Is it a 1-to-1, a 2-to-1? What's your, profile to what you can go to, and then you can project how far that's gonna be to.
Well,
Break out the old folder from it.
the bulky waste has to be a 3-to-1 pitch
Okay.
when it goes down. How high it can go, they don't really tell you, but
3-to-1 is the magic number.
yeah.
Well, that's pretty easy to figure out though.
Okay, so,
Well, I mean, if you go outside of that berm, then you can go higher, but once you go to that berm, there's only so high you can go at 3-to-1, right?
Description in the folder.
There's maps and things that, yeah.
so let's agree that that's gonna be a priority, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I believe that we're at the max. I mean, when I bulldoze that thing and push it all down, it's, it doesn't feel safe anymore on that old bulldozer. I'll tell you that. It's getting steep, you
Yeah.
know?
Then, as far as if the state came tomorrow and said, that's it, we're not putting any more in there,
Then we have to provide a place for it to be.
a dumpster, right? Yeah,
Yes,
so-
and Fred had that started. That there's another dumpster in line over there, which currently has some pallets in it. Just because we decided we had to do something with pallets,
Yeah.
because you couldn't put them in the bulky waste, you can't burn them, you gotta grind them up and send them out, you know?
So, will they get commingled with, I guess probably a good question to ask Peter, but, they'll go in with the bulky waste, I guess, right? The pallets, I mean, it's all
Yeah,
gonna be.
I mean,
together?
technically, we could throw them away in the bulky waste pile, it's just that they take up too much room and it's not, you know, we didn't wanna, fill up our bulky waste that
Yeah,
fast.
right. But if it's in a dumpster, the cost then is just trucking after.
Right.
that. And the
Now-
other thing is,
Now, there's really only room for one dumpster over there. And if we're gonna start collecting bulky waste putting it in a dumpster, you really need two.
We're charging for pallets now, aren't we?
Yes.
So I wouldn't, don't turn that over, just, keep charging for them. You know, that's an income. That helps to get rid of them.
well, we have.
Well,
we
it
have-
doesn't really make you money. Basically, what we're charging for them is what it costs us to get them ground up.
That's
take
fine,
it away.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
wash.
You're not a
Yeah.
for-profit, you're a town.
No,
Right. Well, there's also a restructuring of,
That'll be presented at the next meeting. We have a new transfer bulky waste fee.
okay, so, to answer Tim's query about the dumpster itself, though, will we have to set up another run of the dead men to get around, to get another can in there? It's gonna have to make a return and then out again, right? So
yeah,
that
and
you don't
I
block
think
the other.
if you follow you have to look this all up, but I think if you follow the state's recommendations, it's gotta have a cover on it.
So,
I mean, Salisbury just went through all this, Salisbury Sharon Transfer Station. I'm pretty sure they had to put covers over top of the dumpsters.
yeah, so,
It only benefits the town because when it rains, you're not paying for the extra weight.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
That's why even on the compactor, that's got a cover on it. That was a state mandate for that.
okay, so that's gonna, yeah, that's actually a pretty big expense. that whole is gonna become a big expense.
Right, and also the compactor that's over there is going on 30-some years old too.
Right.
It's
So,
been patched up and that thing's been awesome. It's run great,
yeah,
but
I thought we were leasing another one.
that's just the dumpster,
Mhm.
That's
not,
just-
not the
I thought it was
compactor. That's the
I mean,
dumpster.
why was I thinking?
The old dumpster rotted out. They wouldn't haul it anymore because the floor came out of it. And instead of buying our own dumpster, Henry decided, the selectmen decided to rent one. Which is fine, it just. The compactor itself is the hydraulic piston
Mhm.
and stuff, and that had to be all patched up here a little while ago. The sheet metal on the side of it got all rotted out.
Yeah, I thought Henry had somebody he had spoke to and said it would be cheaper to lease everything from somebody,
Right,
but I guess that's, talk is as far as it got then.
Mhm.
yeah, well, as long as it keeps going.
all
I
right,
mean,
well, that's,
but what do you do when it dies, you know?
Well, yeah, so,
There's been other times when it did die, or it didn't die, but we ran into some trouble on a Monday holiday where it didn't get emptied when it should have. So all of a sudden it wouldn't put any more in the dumpster. Well, the dump is still open. So people are still coming in. All of a sudden I gotta provide a place for that to go.
yeah, I think it brought.
And there's no other dumpster. So I park a town truck over there and let them throw it in that for the extra hour until the dump closes or whatever, but if it happens when there's only 1 hour left of the dump, that works, but
Yeah.
Could be a 3-day project.
it could be.
the other big ticket item is the salt shed.
Yeah.
And where are we with, do we have a design for that?
There's been a couple designs floated out there, as Tim knows.
Yeah.
Right now, we just need to grab the latest,
We paid Allied Engineering
Yeah, DEA.
to write one up with it had 3 different ways to build it. And 3 different prices on it with options, you know, one of them being like a poured cement wall, one of them being a mafia block wall. There was 3 different buildings on top, one of them being a tent, one of them being a wooden structure, I think one of them a steel building over the top of it. And it's all been laid out. Of course, it's all 5 years old now, I bet, but
right now, Greg has all of those. Because the last time we met, Greg grabbed all of the designs and so on and so forth, so we just need to get those.
Reach out to him.
But I think
I
that would,
probably got another set too.
okay. So,
Did it have prices with any of those back then?
Yeah, oh yeah, they were estimated prices of different ways to build it.
Mhm.
And at the time, no matter how you built it, it was more than the town wanted to spend.
I think it was more than we actually had in the fund, right?
There's a little over $100,000 in the salt shed fund,
Mhm.
like 115 maybe, something like
Right,
that.
I'd have to double check on that.
And the price, one of the prices, I think maybe all 3 of them were up around $200,000 or more. So
Mhm.
they all said that there was no salt shed worth that much money and they wouldn't give it to me. So
The,
so in my opinion, that meant I needed to go back to the architect or engineer and say, okay, we got to do this, instead of a 10-foot high wall, what if we made a 6-foot high wall? Okay, maybe we can cut like half of that cement out of there and it'll be cheaper. I don't know. It's sure would make sense to me, but they just shut me down on that at that time. There was no other discussions on that.
when you put the cover, when you replace the cover that's on there, now that comes out of that contingency fund that you have, or is that?
No, I take that out of a de-icing fund. I can't use that fund for anything.
Okay.
That's,
That was.
although they did stop putting money into it, I think, maybe just enough to keep it there, $1,000 a year or something, I don't know, but. And years ago, if I had any leftovers at the end of winter, if I didn't use up all the money in salt or whatever, they used to let me put that into that fund.
Okay, so
But that changed. They can't do that anymore either.
we're gonna have to, that's gonna be one that's gonna be on the top of the list then.
Yeah.
Is there any pressure from the DEP to do something?
Only what they, back when they got us years ago, they never even used to put a tarp over it. It used to just be an open pile. And DEP told them, I think Louis might have been, or either Louis or Mr. Lawson might have been selectman at the time. They told them that they needed to have it covered. And so they put a tarp over it. That's covered.
That was back when Denny worked for the town.
Mhm.
It was over 30 years ago.
I mean, the DEP wants it covered. They want a building there, and I think what happened is by telling them we were putting money into an account to work towards building it, they allowed us to put a tarp over it. And that's acceptable as long as we're working towards a building. And that was, I don't know, 25 some years ago, probably, but
Nothing's been said since.
not from the state. No, they've never given us.
Are bad again?
I buy a new one every year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As we move into the pile, I can't like roll that pile up.
Yeah.
Or that tarp up. It's covered in snow, it's frozen to the
Yeah.
ground. I cut the front of it off.
Yeah.
We'll cut up 6 feet and just push into it further,
Yeah.
So at the end of the year, I mean, I'll leave it there all summer and then in the fall, I gotta haul more sand in and mix a little salt with it, and then we buy a new tarp and cover the new pile.
And the cover that's on the salt shed itself,
That's the deal. There is a shed there that's just for salt. I can fit about 75 ton in it.
how
50 to
old is
75.
that cover on that one?
Or that one's going on 12 years probably.
Pretty good shape.
No,
Still in
yeah,
the shop,
That's,
so
it needs a new one. And I can't,
it's
for
wrong.
2 years, I've been trying to get a new tarp for that and I'm having a big problem with it now. The company, they don't make it, used to just be able to order that part number and get it, because I've replaced that tarp before. But they discontinued that. So now I gotta get a special one made for it. And I keep sending them the dimensions and everything and nothing happens. And I call them back and do it all over again. Okay, I think we got it figured out, and then nothing happens. So
We're talking about a shed for the sand and salt mix.
it was, the one we designed was a combination for both the regular salt product and the mixed salt sand product. It was big enough to cover both under one. And actually, I even wanted to put like a little lean-to shed off of one side of it so I could maybe park the sweeper and the grader in there, which is one of the reasons why I had tall walls on it. But
Well, you wanna be able to push against the tall wall. You don't wanna push against.
yeah, but I had it in that plan. I'd love to show it to you, but I think it was a 10-foot high wall, thinking that I could put a shed roof off of that one side and just be able to park a little more equipment under there, because my old grader sits outside and it gets a little water in it. Don't like it. And the sweeper, I hide that over at the transfer station, so that does stay undercover, but
All right, that's a pretty good start, I think. Anybody have any other comments on the list of infrastructure and prioritizing?
Well, how often do they check on that sand and salt mixture barn? Has
the DEP,
anybody ever inquired about it at all?
Well, that's what we don't wanna say.
they,
We
they,
don't wanna open up a.
they have stopped at the garage before.
Has it been written up in any way?
No,
Has
they,
any-
at the time it was when Bob Foley was still working there. So that's probably 15 years ago. Maybe more. They stopped one day and Bob Foley was out there with a garden hose washing the underside of the mower deck. He just finished mowing the town greens and he's washing it down so that he could sharpen blades, take the blades off and sharpen them. And they came in and they said, "What's he doing over there?" I said, "Well, he's washing that down so he can
Butter in the
blades
grass.
off." And he says, "Well, you guys can't use a garden hose here because you don't have a tank that collects the water.
Oh, yeah.
An oil separator.
Mhm.
You can't use your garden hose.
You can't steam clean anything outside,
No. Can't wash the trucks there.
correct?
So that's another,
Yeah, that's another.
That's a whole big thing.
yeah.
Should be like a big, from 20,000 feet kind of view of the whole municipal public works complex.
Yeah, that's what
If you're
that's
Band-Aided
what we're
one thing.
charged with.
Yeah, so that's when the DEP, when they told us we needed a salt shed, a sand salt shed, they also cemented up our drains in the garage
Mhm.
because there was no separation tank
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
Yeah.
So. Under DPW garage is gonna be, water, oil separator.
Break out the old plan. Take a
Yeah.
look at them, right?
Um,
Yep.
and again, I mean, we're, not that we're gonna do it. But we should have a plan, have
Yeah.
some kind of an idea what's gotta be done. So we're that much further ahead of
So
the
things
reactionary.
like that, so we can prevent Board of Finance.
Um,
These are our priorities. The only other thing that I can think of on this list that might be a priority is the senior center.
Mhm.
It's pretty rough in there.
inside,
Yeah,
There's a roof problem up there.
yeah. That's where it'd be handy to
The-
get Jake on board.
The roof has actually been reshingled, but there's these little eyebrow things up there. They're like tin that go over those windows.
Yeah,
And when they reshingled the roof, they never did anything with those.
never flashed them, counter flashing. or
I don't
anything.
think so.
Yeah.
I never gone up there to look at them, but you could see them from down here that they never got really done.
Yeah.
And when there's ice, like a rain that freezes on the roof, and we've had trouble. A lot of people have had trouble when the ice builds on the bottom of their roofs and it backs up the water, it goes into a wall. It gets in up there where all those eyebrows are.
Yeah,
I thrown buckets up there and caught it, but it's usually already done damage by the time you realize that's happening. So
right.
how long ago was that roof done?
Pat was in,
Yeah, I think Dave Adams did it.
he did.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
it'd be like, maybe
Had to be.
15?
Probably 10 years at least. Yeah, I think it was about the same time he did the children's theater, maybe. Did he do that too? I think he did.
He was going around doing a lot.
Yeah, there's still brackets up there on that roof that he never took down.
Yeah.
Just in case he was gonna come back.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Teresa was saying about the floors are really, really bad.
Mhm.
And you can look up and you can see that ceiling and it's pretty horrible. So she said that
There's
there's,
still plaster and lath over in there, the walls
yeah,
are.
yeah. So she was saying that she knows of several grants that could
Yes.
help out with this. So.
Well, that was a grant that did it,
originally, yeah.
when Pete Lawson
Mhm.
Mhm.
was in, and they put the elevator on.
Right, that was.
yeah, that's right, I
that was a
remember that, yeah,
special-
yeah.
Yeah,
I think, I believe she's already applied. We both looked at, she had already applied for the grant, and when I got in the seat over there, I looked at grants and said, oh, here's a grant for specifically for senior
oh,
centers.
good, yeah.
And I sent it to her, and she goes, we've already applied for this one, we're waiting to hear on it.
Oh,
So
good,
there's
yeah.
one in the hopper.
So. that's
You know how
gonna
much
work.
what it was worth?
I'd be less than honest if I told you, Chris, but it is primarily for renovation of senior centers. If I have it correctly, and it
So-
all came out of ARPA funds.
So I guess that would probably.
Yeah, I think they need, like, the walls need to be all,
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
Redone.
cracks and then where the water is damaged them and.
right.
Well, if the water's getting in there,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
gotta get fixed.
That's gotta be.
So,
that's first.
Yeah, that'd be a good reason to get Jake on board if we
Yeah.
can, and,
most definitely.
Yeah,
even if he's not interested, in being a member, maybe he could be like, sort of like Charlie, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Vice
And, yeah,
consul-
but push him to be a member.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll text him. I'll talk to him tonight.
Yeah,
All right, anything else on the list of infrastructure?
the priority. I don't know, you're reducing that.
The bridge, there's, uh, I don't wanna let those slide, but I think, there's not much we're gonna do this winter anyways, or hopefully we can get Tim and his crew to look at some of the prescribed, maintenance issues.
Well, that are in the book.
Yeah, the caulk joints and that kind of shit. We're not gonna do that now anyways, so, you know, during the winter, but, you know, we do need to look at it and,
The majority of that is basically that you gotta rebuild that one on Cobble Road
mhm,
and figure out that culvert on Cobble Road. And, there's one of the other bridges on Under Mountain Road is gonna need some work. But it's not really work that we can do. It's like, at least I don't know how to do it, but
well, you know, I've put a lot of thought into this, so I guess we're on to the Cobble Road project and, some of the, like, I think there was exposed rebar on the bottom of the
Yeah.
bridge decks and stuff like that. It's really pretty easy to, there's not a lot to it. And, this, I think Charlie would back me up on this if he were here. There's repair mortar and that type of thing that we would have to get. And Sika company that makes all that stuff will give training if you, buy their product. And it's probably worth it.
Hmm.
And a lot of times it's spec'd out on certain, like any, you know, repair projects like that. Quite often they spec a product that you have to use. And if you go with that product, you can get training, you can get the guy will come out and show you how to use it, the
Oh.
proper way to do it.
we'll train them on at least 2 bridges then.
We get- Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, it makes no sense, and we don't want you guys to go down there and do any of it if it's not gonna be done right, cause you're just wasting time
Yeah.
down there,
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes that
And,
is caused by, salt and water penetration from the deck.
yeah,
Will pop the concrete on the bottom, so we need to have somebody who. can
caulk
check things out
joints is the
and-
same thing.
Yeah,
A lot of, it's really pretty basic, you know, I've done them, you know, you can get
But
the
it-
tool that goes on the, Charlie can help us identify where the caulk joints are, or that should be
On the
done.
bridge deck, you
On
mean,
the
on
bridge
the
decks,
top?
yep,
Cause that one on Cobble Road, he said needed joints.
the joints have to be done, right,
Right, but he said that was a big expensive project and that you gotta hire a company in to do it.
okay, well, that whole bridge is gonna get redone.
yeah.
Well, that's why we didn't do it,
Yeah.
because the ends of the beams are all rotted off on it and it's,
Right,
but he claims that's partly why they rotted. Is
because of
those-
the, right,
Those
because it,
joints leaked.
yeah, down through and got onto the structure, so. I think for, just further discussion on the bridges, let's table that till we can maybe set up the next meeting with Charlie or a meeting with Charlie and review what's in the book there.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I have just one comment about the Cobble Road
Oh,
project.
yeah, let's hear about it, yeah.
The Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection issued us a license
To do it,
to do it.
okay, well, there it is.
So is that the last thing we needed to?
I just got this actually late Monday and printed it out this morning. I'm gonna contact the Cardinal tomorrow and see where we are with it, but this is all everything that was submitted.
Yep.
So, right now,
That's for the culvert at the bottom.
this is for the culvert, nothing more, nothing less. Okay, but it gives us the okay from DEEP with, with a number of things that we need to do in order to make it happen, but,
How about, funding? Have you heard anything else?
I have not heard anything about funding. So, again, it'll be a 2-for-1 because we hadn't heard anything. We were waiting for licensing and everything, so now that we have that,
Just to refresh my, Cardinal did apply for funding, didn't we?
yes,
I thought Henry said that the grant was approved.
it was for the culvert.
Yeah, it was
And
50
then we also,
50% grant, right?
right, and we also, allotted more money to pay for, an application for the big bridge.
Yeah, I remember. that,
Okay,
yeah.
now that's still in the application phase. But right now, excuse me, what this is for, when, if you remember when DEEP came out and
Mhm.
everyone came out looking at everything, this is the okay to
Okay.
go
yeah.
do it.
They had,
Alright.
they had a couple of questions, I think.
And we answered all those questions.
Yeah,
Cardinal actually answered all those questions for us.
that's right.
I mean, there's some things you're more than welcome to look over it. I'll make a copy for everyone, not tonight, but about the spotted turtle and a few other things.
Okay.
The bog turtle.
Three-legged
Yep.
goat.
So,
So we were able to, I remember we paid the Cardinal bill to get that rolling, so then that being paid, this came through.
it may have been, Dusty, it may have been, like I say, but I knew we were waiting on this.
How long does that last? That, to say, okay, we can build it, how many years does that last?
What it says right here, and it refers back to the statute, and I haven't had an opportunity to look at the statute. But
Probably
I think it's,
do it every year if you had to.
I don't know, it refers back to the US Army Corps of Engineers. How long it allows it, and that's where it goes back to the statute. So, and again, if you think I'm kidding, it's in invasive species control plan,
Yeah,
spotted turtle,
oh, yeah.
American bittern and alder flycatcher.
There's one of them down there.
But we
I
got it.
didn't see that.
But we,
I remember haying those deals.
but we have that, and so I'll make a call tomorrow. Like I said, I just printed it out today, but again. Just came through.
Cool.
Good, all right, any other comments to come before the meeting? I have one. The chip pile.
Wood chips.
The wood chip pile. I think. Does anybody have, any creative ideas how to address it? Because in my opinion, it's completely out of control and,
I followed a truck from Goshen the other day, and he went there and dumped.
yeah, so there's
Look at the ruts coming out of that place now.
there's probably
Driving
just
all
an
over.
estimation of 6,000 yards of chips there, 5,000 to 6,000 yards
Now, what
maybe.
did Laurel Brook use it for? They came hauled a bunch out.
Yeah, Laurel Brook took everything that
Lewis.
Supreme chipped up at the Lee farm.
They've got all.
They took every bit of it up there, so I think they're in pretty good state for chips right now, but we could ask Bobby.
Other
They've
avenues.
taken them out of there in the past, but then they started getting, Lewis to dump right over at their own
Directly up
property
there.
instead of over here.
I did talk to Tomich up in, Great Barrington, and he said he'd take everything we got. But he has no truck to haul it, and he doesn't wanna pay for the trucking. So. It doesn't pay to go 40 yards at a time running as Great Barrington.
No, it doesn't,
I think we should. Put a halt to anybody dumping there.
But you're gonna have to gate it off then.
yep. I think,
Put a couple of signs up, create a couple of signs and stamp them in the ground there and, put a temporary fence around it.
Put up some trail cams.
yeah, let
Could
me,
you charge?
Yeah, I was thinking of that, maybe come down and get a permit or something from the town.
well, we could do that, Dusty, but my fear is we're only
Nobody
adding to a
monitoring,
pile
yeah.
that, and nobody to monitor it. But I certainly don't wanna give it to Peter Russis because now it's part of the dump.
Something else.
But that wood
Uh,
chip pile is not on the dump permit.
Right,
Right.
right, and we don't want it to be on the dump.
And,
permit.
and he can't watch both places,
And he
he's
can't-
looking
right.
this way and it's going on
Um,
behind him.
No, that was just a courtesy of the town. I mean, we were chipping all kinds of brush on the side of the roads and we needed a place to put them. And so that, they made one of the fences. So you can't get into the transfer station. They made it with wood chips because that's what we had coming in, you know?
What if we were to get Tim some temporary signs made up? Okay, we stake it off, rope it off, because buying fence is just gonna be a little cost prohibitive at this point in time. We don't have it laying around, but we put some stakes in. All right, with the signs, we rope it off, and then my next suggestion would be is that we would no longer, we get a hold of the local papers and say, look, we are no longer taking chips. It's a problem. We have way too many. We can't do it. So we get it out there a couple different ways. If people are open to doing it that way. All right. And then if we get chips dumped there. But on the other hand, if we have people who want to take chips out, then they're gonna have to contact us or something. I mean,
Town hall.
Yeah, you go
there's
down on
a-
Sunday to go get them.
yeah, there's a yin and a yang here, so to speak, but it's.
I think you gotta invest in like a fence, a real fence to go around it, like a chain link type fence. You
Well,
know, I don't know,
you know,
maybe not that heavy duty, but
yeah, my problem with chain link is, it's the gateway to the pool and the rec center, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And, I don't wanna look, I personally, I don't want it to look like, Love Canal or something, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You can get the plastic green, snow fence and some of the cheap,
States.
the T-posts, we could drive them in around there and put that up. You really don't need it all the way around the whole thing, I don't believe. Plenty of signs. And make a small spot that would be accessible to people to come get them if they wanted them. Or maybe once a week, you gotta go over there and, we'll make a pile in the dump area where people can come and get them. So it's
Nah,
accessible.
I wouldn't unless it was on the permit,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
inside
you're
the
probably
gate
right.
there.
You're probably right.
But, yeah, we're gonna at least need
Where else do they take the chips?
fence
Do
off
they
the rest
take
of
them
the-
to a Talon?
I have no idea.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about that. I hear a lot of pushback, a lot of people complain that, well, it's not fair. If somebody, has a tree that's gotta get taken down, wanna have somewhere to put the chips.
Chip them on your property.
Chip them on your property or, the disposal of a load of chips in the overall cost of getting a tree removed off your property
Yeah.
is nothing, and,
They're charging you for removal.
They're
they're
charging.
charging you to dump them anyway.
Absolutely,
What's the big end game with the chips?
right.
Exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
I had a vision or thought that, one-time expense, bring somebody in with a grinder, double grind them, make a pile of mulch for all the town residents, they could take the mulch. And then we're done.
I think that may be,
You give a
I
nice
don't know if we
usable
would be
product.
able to get rid of that much. There's a,
I measured
Mountain.
that one tall part of the pile it's not tapered, it's in what I say, 4,000.
You figured out 568 truckloads.
There's
Well, that was town truckload, so that's like
That
8
was
yards.
town
That-
truck.
That's 8 yards.
Yeah,
That's it.
remember you and I talked about that.
I think it was 4,000
They're
cubic
in
yards,
bulk.
and I
Yes.
only measured that tall
Yes.
section of pile, not the part that's tapered,
Chip pile is-
or the part that's.
I have that number written down.
They might fill it.
so I guess that's food for thought,
If you made mulch like Lee said, then you could actually sell it.
Yeah, but will they buy that? It's all mixed and
It's all
there's,
poison ivy.
yeah, there's,
well, that's pretty well,
talking about, what, $70,000 a day for a chipper?
Yeah.
Somebody come
Yeah.
in there and chip it.
At least,
to grind it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people that take some of that, put it in a pickup truck and they take it home, put it on their gardens or whatever, but.
And then they get weeds.
I don't know
Sure,
about
yeah.
loggers and stuff, but like Chad. Peas, you know, he might have a place that will come get it, come take the chips. You know, and not really a cost because they use them for something.
Yeah,
I mean, but
There might be an avenue for that.
I guess you must be able to compost them, Jackie or
That's what
compost
they
them,
were-
Well, he makes a,
mixes
Like
it
a
with
filling.
other things.
well, yeah, they grind it and it's added with the manure to make a bedding thing. It's not.
yeah, plus you have to, I mean, for you to go over there with your combination and turn that whole pile, it would take you be over. Well, that's the other thing too that I was thinking, there's no money, and I asked this at a Board of Finance meeting. There's no money allocated anywhere, for taking care of that pile. And, so whatever time you spend over there with the equipment comes out of your budget, not, not wood chips budget or, so.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the way Fred always handled it was, probably once a week, we had to drive the backhoe over there to do maintenance at the dump. Pack some dumpsters, push up the wood or the brush pile, and then before you left, you went out and you pushed up whatever chips were there, and then you drove it back home.
It took you 15 minutes, but now.
Yeah, I mean, and it has gotten a little heavier since.
In the last 3 years, it's just exploded.
Yeah,
Well, there's so many trees coming down now too, so,
so,
People saw an easy avenue to dump for free.
yeah.
okay, so, we'll think about that. And, when do you wanna meet again?
Available anytime.
We got the holidays coming up and, we wanna wait after the holidays or before?
Well, why don't we make it after the holidays?
Please.
How about, does Tuesday work for 5 o'clock, fine, or do we wanna make it later, or?
Tuesday's good for me.
Okay, how about the
Me
9th?
too.
The night, the day after the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, the 9th work?
Works for me.
Fire meeting that night, Lee. Right?
What night are you on?
Oh, yeah, the 9th would be
Oh,
fire.
that's
Fire
The
meeting.
second Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the first Tuesday?
That's
The
the
second?
second,
Second,
yeah.
I'm all right with it.
I'm fine.
That's gonna be rough, the second.
That's the second day of my official retirement.
Hey, good for
Get
you.
right into it. Get right into
You
it.
should have plenty of
Okay,
time.
yeah, the second, let's do it at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Have your meeting, go ahead.
Well, what,
How about the 16th? I know that's into the third.
16th sounds good.
What time?
5,
5?
Can we do like 5:30?
5:30?
I might not be able to make it, but I can try for 5:30.
You're gonna be tied up in January, right?
No, March.
March, I'm sorry. Okay.
16th at 5:30, is 5:30 work?
Yeah.
Good.
In the meantime, let's talk about how much gets dumped there, Tim, once the snow flies in the way it chips.
it still comes in, yeah,
I'm just-
yeah.
Cause I'll be honest with you, I never really paid attention once snow
Yeah.
started. So,
I think it slows down some.
Somebody's certainly been mud bogging over there. Like not going up the rec road to get in there now. They made some new rut road that
Yeah.
was really making it look
What
atrocious.
they do is they unhook the wood chipper
Wood chipper, yeah, and dumping and,
down the bottom and then they plow up through.
Was there any discussion at all about the old rec center pool?
oh. Yeah, I wanted to, I was thinking about that
Fill
today.
it with wood chip.
Yeah, actually, Ian,
Yards at a time.
Ian Vito
Don't
sent
be overweight.
an email. But yeah, we need to, that's something we need to look at.
You mean the old,
The old pool. at the-
Fiberglass
the old-
liner?
Yeah,
you know, pull that out?
It's still in there.
Yeah,
Parts of it.
well, it's still there. It's all still
There
there.
must be water in there, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Well, then you pull the liner out so we can, so it'll drain. I mean, it isn't a swamp.
Well, the water comes up from the bottom. It's got like a spring that's all rocks in the center.
Yeah.
It's pretty much filled, it always filled itself. The liner goes down to where the rocks are in the center, in the deep part. And that's where the water comes in.
Well, the last time I was over there at that blacktop,
Yeah,
painted blue.
light blue.
Oh, there's a
There's a
fiberglass
hole.
under the last time. But it's still worth it.
You probably fill it up so far, create the seasonal high groundwater, and then run it out underneath Skeeter Patch Road to the swamp.
It's what it does already. It doesn't run off, because it's a pond. It always was a pond. It's self-filling.
So now it's a pond where you can't touch it, or can we still fill it in and do something with it? I don't know.
It's gonna.
Is the liner
keep
still in it?
going in.
Yeah,
yeah, that's gotta.
the asphalt is in it and the fiberglass is in it and there's some plumbing in there.
All kind of goodies.
The old lifeguard stand is still there. No, we didn't, I took the tanks out of there, the old filter tanks. We cut those up and emptied them out.
Is that
Just
something we're
something
gonna
to
have to?
address at some point, you know?
Yeah,
Are all the fences up?
We cut up a bunch of the piping and stuff. Yeah, the fence is all still there.
Big snapping turtles in there.
Yeah,
God darn things we got big around.
yeah,
um,
fish used to bite us as we were swimming.
Ian Vito's email, was that included on,
That's going to be for our other meeting,
okay,
okay?
so
So that we can,
we'll discuss it here later, then.
That,
well, what we want to do is recognize it's there so we can send it here.
Good, yeah.
that pond has to remain fenced off because there's a daycare next to it.
Mhm.
That's something the state checks every time they're over there, make sure there's no holes in the fence, kids can't get in there.
They didn't walk up around like we.
Well, these are little kids.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, not you big kids.
We were only 12, 13, I don't know.
Okay,
Out early enough.
Yeah.
make a motion to adjourn,
So,
second? Aye.
I.
All right, now what do I do here, Dave?
And meeting.
We had no public comment, nobody.
No one.
Oh, nobody on here.
All right.
you know,
But it records it.
oh, was she?
Where? It's right down here, and you see, over here,
Oh,
but I
okay.
can't, where's your, there, I couldn't find a cursor.
Whenever you-
And meeting for all.
Looks at you.